Hi everyone, this video is very different than anything I've ever put on the internet before. In the past 15 years that I've been on the internet, I don't think I've ever had to make a video quite like this, but in case you haven't noticed, I haven't been on the internet as much the past few weeks, and for, obvious reasons. I know that probably some of you don't follow me on other social media pages, so you guys probably might not know what's going on and you might not understand why I've been offline for the past few weeks. But unfortunately, a few weeks ago my cat did pass away. Emis the cat, who was such a huge part of my life, and not only was she such a huge part of my life, but she was such a huge part of my life here on the internet. And it's really hard for me to make this video right now just because I've been putting off making this video for the past week and a half. I was supposed to put this out a little bit earlier because I felt like I was ready to come back to the internet last week, but I quickly realized that I wasn't. And it's taking a lot for me right now to talk about this topic, outwardly in front of a camera to pretty much the whole world. And it's something that I'm still going through, and it's something that I'm still grieving. It's something that still pains me a lot because I don't want to get into too many details of what happened or how things went down, because it's still very hard for me to talk about all of those deeper details and exactly what went down. But I was with her till the very end, and it was a situation where things just happened so quickly. Things happened so fast, and things were just so intense, and there was no time for any of us to really think or reflect or get a second opinion. It was just awful. It was awful, and it was tough, and I will not lie to you. The first week when it happened, the thought of being in front of a camera just was not in my future. It was just not in my future. I did not want to be in front of a camera. I didn't want to be around people because I wasn't ready to face that reality. And I think now, I've come to the point in grieving where I feel like I've accepted that this has happened, and I've accepted the way that things did happen, and I've accepted everything that transpired afterwards, and I've validated my emotions. Trust me, I've cried every tear I possibly could cry about this situation, and that's why I'm filming this video now, because I feel like I've come to a point now where to some extent I can talk about this with a little more peace of mind and less with me, bursting into tears and, being inconsolable and uncontrollably crying. And, I think anyone that's gone through this understands that this isn't easy. And no matter how many times you go through this never gets easy. It just doesn't. It just doesn't get easy. I've gone through this a few times actually in my life before. I've always had animals in my life, and I still do have animals in my life, but it never gets easy. It never gets easy, and it's very painful. I think this hit me harder than ever before because obviously there was so much at play here with my cat. I mean, I was with her. She was with me, actually. I should say she was with me for 10 years. And, from when I was 18 till now, she was with me. And so she's been with me for pretty much my entire adult life. And, it was really hard to come back home without her. And it was really hard to, take things out of the house and clean things and move things around. The first week was just incredibly painful, and I definitely was not in my best shape at all. I had severe anxiety, and I had just severe panic attacks all throughout the past 3 weeks, as a part of the grieving process. And I've talked to a therapist already, and I have been talking to a therapist these past 3 weeks, and every emotion is valid during this time, and anxiety is definitely one of those things that comes through because this happens to a loved one, and then you're worried about the rest of the world around you and what can happen, and, you know, having all of these irrational thoughts that I know are irrational, but it seems like in the spur of the moment, my mind can't comprehend how irrational these thoughts are. So it's been a really tough past 3 weeks for me. I've been focusing a lot on just being with family, on not being on the internet too much, focusing on my day job, and just staying off the internet as much as possible. Not for any other reason other than I just couldn't stomach being in front of a camera for these past 3 weeks, and I couldn't stomach feeling as creative as I normally am and putting content out for you guys in my regularly scheduled programming when my life was anything but regularly scheduled for the past few weeks. And, you know, I think now that I've accepted the way that things have happened, and now that I've accepted how things transpired, and I've accepted my life as it is right now, and we're all moving forward with life to the best of our abilities, I feel more confident now to come back to the internet and to come back to making content for you guys. You know, this past few days, I've actually missed making content on the internet. I've missed being in front of a camera, and I've missed talking to you guys about my favorite products, about things that I purchased, about, you know, things that are going on, about new things that are launching, about, you know, the world of luxury products that I love to showcase for you guys. And, you know, I also, you know, going off on a tangent right now, I do also just want to extend my gratitude to everyone that's given me so much support and love during this time. It does not go unnoticed, even if I didn't reply. But going back, I want to come back to the internet. I feel more comfortable now than I have the past few weeks to come back to the internet, to come back to a regularly scheduled programming. I have a lot of ideas. I had a lot of ideas actually this weekend of things that I wanted to do, of things that I wanted to film, of things that I wanted to create. So I'm excited. I'm excited to come back. As for my clothing brand, KOSHKA by Emis the cat, which, you know, obviously business didn't come to the picture. Business didn't come into the picture while any of this was happening. I was not thinking about, you know, how I'm going to navigate this, how I'm going to do this. And yes, I did speak about it in the post I did on social media that, you know, I was going to think about the future of the brand, and I truly didn't think about it at all up until these past few days, where I really started to heavily think about what the future will be, until the past few days, where I've really started to think about what I'm going to do creatively this year, what I'm going to make, what I'm going to do. I will be honest, there was already, you know, I do have a whole spring collection that I have not released still, that I completed before any of this happened, that actually was going to be released this Friday, but I just still don't think it's right for me to release it just yet. But hopefully I will release it soon. But the vision for the future of the company was already, you know, in swing. I had already built a concept for what the future would be like for 2026 and 2027. Late last year, I already had the vision of, you know, kind of scaling back a lot of the designs that incorporated my cat, and rather than incorporating her in the designs, I would incorporate her in some way, shape, or form in the logo, and have her be more of a motif for the company rather than the face of the company. So honoring her in a way that turns her into a motif, and to kind of turns her into the logo rather than the actual subject, and, you know, still staying true to the core vision that I've had ever since we started the brand. And, you know, there will be some changes along the way, but those changes probably won't happen. I will be very honest. They won't happen until most likely next year. So things will still stay the same. I do plan on releasing collections this year. I do still want to keep myself, you know, occupied and motivated creatively, because that's how I go through life. That's how I've done things in life. You know, when sad things happen in my life, I like to really dive deep into creativity. That's what I've done my whole life. I did it when I released Joy, my last album. I've done it many times with many collections that I've released for my clothing brand. I've done it with my content here on the internet, and I've done it across so many other avenues. I've always been able to dive deep creatively whenever there's sadness in my life, and I want to do that now more than ever. So I mainly wanted to make this video to let you guys know that I'm okay, and that, you know, obviously some days are easier than others and some days are tougher than others, but I am more motivated than ever, and I am more excited than ever to come back to the internet and do the things I love, make the content that I love, connect with all of you guys over things that we love, the things that we share, the things that we're excited about. The whole channel has been about, and that's what all of my content across all of the internet has been about. It's just about making all of us happy, about escaping the world, diving deep into the luxury world as well, which is an escape in and of itself. So I definitely want to come back to all of these things, and I want to come back to them hopefully by this week. You know, like I said, I have some things that I've thought that I wanted to make. To be completely honest with you, I haven't filmed anything at all. I don't have anything filmed. I don't have anything that I made during this time. I didn't film absolutely anything at all, so I'm definitely gonna get to work right away on making as much content as possible. And you know, the funniest thing has happened ever since her passing, and it's weird because it happened prior. Like, it would happen when she was with us all the time, but now it's happening more than ever before. And you know, where I live, you know, there's so many houses nearby, and a lot of them have pets, and there's also a lot of street cats where I live, and they would come visit every now and then when she was with us. But now that she's not here with us, the weirdest thing has happened, and I have like a clan. I don't even know if that's the right word to say, but like I have a group of 5 or 6 street cats that have been coming to my house every single day for the past 2 weeks. And not only are they just walking by my house, because they would always just walk by and they would go back to the street. No, now they're sleeping in front of my doorstep. They're sleeping in the front yard. They're sleeping in the backyard. They're sleeping, you know, just by the stairs, and they're there either all night long or they're there all day long. And you know, I'll leave my house and I'll go outside, and usually when I open the door, the cats run away. This time they're just sitting there and they're not leaving. So it's the weirdest thing that's been happening. That's the weirdest thing that's happened, is that these cats are now just here. They're here all the time, and they don't seem to leave, and they don't seem to be scared by any of us just opening the door. They just still sit there and look at us, and you know, I keep my distance with them, they keep their distance with me, and you know, we harmoniously live. But you know, that's happened, and I'd like to think that's her sending some friends over to us when she's not here, and I'd like to think that that's her watching over us to some capacity. You know, her multiplying herself into 6 different cats and having all of them keep us company during this time. But anyways, if you're still here watching this video, I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. And again, thank you so much to everyone who, you know, share their condolences and send me so much love. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to come back, and stay tuned for more, because I'm definitely going to start cooking up some videos right away. So thank you, I appreciate it, and I will see you soon.